Rishi sir?
Yes, good. Yes, Father. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Frederick sir, start பண்ணலாம் sir, நம்ம start பண்ணலாம், yes. Rishi sir, sister தாங்க, Frederick sir இருக்கார், start பண்ணிடலாம். Rishi sir, Rishi?
Can
Rishi? Rishi sir?
Hello, Father, can you hear me?
You can start now.
Okay, Father. Good afternoon, all. Now, time to start our international webinar series 2, session 4, to live with Corona. I invite our administrator of St. Joseph College, Reverend Sister Dr. K. Santiago Mary, to lead the prayer.
The human person is a bundle of energy. It's God's grace that moves it. So, dear participants, let's all close your eyes for a moment for the prayer. God, our loving Father, we praise the precious day. Thank you for giving us this good opportunity. The department, Dr. Reverend Father Adekasamy, Department of Commerce. May all of them find joy through this seminar. May all of them be enlightened by this seminar. We also ask you to bless our person is going to handle this session. Give him the mind and body. Ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Sister. Now I am happy to deliver the welcome address on behalf of our founder, Reverend Father Dr. J. Arulraj, our administrator, Reverend Sister Dr. K. Santiago Mary, our principal, Dr. R. Ruben, our vice principals, Mrs. Shamla Alexander and Mrs. Vijayalakshmi, our head of the department, Reverend Father Dr. I. Adekalaswamy, and the staff members of the PG Department of Commerce. Today, our honorable person, Mr. Avis Frederick Raj, is working as a HSC manager in HSC Department Basics in United Arab Emirates. Recently, he did the Our resource person have excellent journey towards his career. I welcome our resource person, Mr. Avis Frederick Raj, to address us how to live with Corona. Please, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. I welcome you all in a series on great distinctiveness in global disaster, organized by St. Joseph's College Arts and Science, Chennai. First, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Yves Frederick Raj. I'm working as an occupational health and safety and environment professional in B6, Dubai. So B6 is one of the biggest company in UAE. And not in UAE, in worldwide, it's a very big company, and the parent company is from Belgium. And we are proud to say we are one of the contractors who built this Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest tower, and tram, Garut Bridge, Ferrari, and most of the iconic projects will be are done by us only. So regarding this corona, the breaking the chain of the corona is more important. I want to give a speech about how to live with corona. So I want to do in two parts. First part is to explain about corona. Most of the people know about that, but just a quick outlook on that. And second is how we delivered our project during this crisis period. So the legal context regarding our support is this situation surrounding COVID-19 is dynamic and rapid evolving on a daily basis. So it represents the presenter's view at a particular time. This presentation is mainly intended for this webinar only. It's not intended to constitute medical or safety advice, not be a substitute for anything. Be seen in a formal endorsement or recommendation in a particular response. As such, you are advised to make your own assessment as to appropriate course of action to take. Use this presentation as a guidance. Please carefully consider local orders and guidance in your area. So I want to tell I am not a medical professional. Again, I am an occupational safety and health professional. So the part one, I want to cover about the following questions. What's coronavirus? What are the common signs of infections? How does the virus spread? Any treatments? How to prevent it from spreading? How to live with corona? Finally, that will be the concluding part. So you all know, most of the people know. Some people don't know what is really coronavirus. They are the concern. They are concerned and fear around COVID-19. So coronavirus are a large family of viruses that cause illness ranging from common cold to severe disease, such as MERS, that is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, and SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome. If you go through the Wikipedia, this virus is not new to this world. This was first discovered in 1930 in domesticated chickens. It started only with birds and animals. In 1960 only, they discovered this corona in human. Okay, and this virus, the COVID-19, is the latest virus that was identified in 2019 in Wuhan. So this new virus, previously, it has not been identified in humans. So that is why the whole world was really very afraid of this one. So common signs of infection, you know, because this is not a theoretical one. I was appointed as I forgot to tell that one, sorry. I was appointed by my company as a COVID coordinator for UAE. So I physically experienced how our workers, how our staff were suffering from this set of symptoms. So this is a real fact, okay? So this infection include respiratory symptoms, fever, cough, shortness of breath, and breathing difficulties. In more severe cases, infection can cause pneumonia, severe acute respiratory syndrome, kidney failure, and even death. Okay, now the latest study, our latest experience from the US and other countries, they are saying some blood clots are happening due to this virus. So mainly the arteries which takes the blood to kidney, brain, and other vital organs. There will be intermittent blood clots, and which blocks the passage of oxygen to these vital organs, and ultimately there will be a single organ failure or multiple organ failure, and which leads to the death. But it's generally a steady, but some cases they are already identified in US and UK. In some cases, people get a headache to start with. The symptoms start with a headache, body pain, and once it prolongs, you will lose the smelling sense and sense of taste also. Risk of mortality. When I say death means no need to panic. The US chief medical officers have raised the risk from public from low to moderate. They didn't say it's a high risk. I will show in my next graph. High risk is only for the old people, that is aged people who have less immunity and who have chronic diseases. Otherwise, as of March 2020, the mortality rate of the whole world is only 3.4%. March 30 was the peak, you all know. There was a peak when every country started to make lockdown and all those things. So from this bar chart, you can see the death rate due to COVID-19. So you can see the age group, 80 plus, 14.8, who is almost, they will have less immunity, and sure, they will have some complaints, some chronic illness like diabetic or heart patients like that. So when the age reduces 20 to 29, only 0.2%. So I have recently gone through some interview with some doctors like Dr. Sudha Seshan, Vice Chancellor from MGR Medical University. So as per her statement, so now there are no symptoms at all. 80% of the people don't have symptoms. Okay, so this virus is similar to like malaria, how we have malaria, chickenpox, like that. So it comes, then people who are having this chronic illness will be severely infected, and due to less immunity, they need hospitalization and they need treatment. Okay. Other than that, I'll detail you later. So next thing, how does the virus spreads? Three things are there. First is the droplets during coughing or sneezing by an infected person. Second thing, the virus can spread through touching an infected surface like door handles, knobs, or from public, you're using public washrooms, public buildings, even office buildings. Someone who already got infected, if he touch this handle, again, if a negative person go and touch, and after he uses his hand to touch his face, and the virus enters through his eyes, nose, or through his mouth. And the third thing is personal contact. The personal contact means what the Dubai Health Authority says. Anyone who is spending at least 15 minutes with a person who got positive in a same room or in a confined room, with or without protection, which means this is it's a potential case. This person is potential to get infection. Okay, clear? At the end of the session, I will give you 10-15 minutes for the question and answers. You can raise your questions or comments at last. Okay, then talking about the symptoms. The incubation period. They say the incubation period is 1 to 14 days. If you see this graph, The incubation period, there is no signs or symptoms. And prodromal period, vague general symptoms will be coming, like fever, body pain, headaches, very rare cases of running nose, but it start with the throat infection and cough. And illness, more severe signs and symptoms with dry cough, breathing difficulties, and high fever sometimes. And declining stage, again the symptoms slows down, and during the convalescence stage, that is the curing period, you'll slowly your symptoms will reduce. But I came to know one of my cousin in France, she got infected with this COVID, and after recovery, she's only 35 years old, So after recovery, at least. Okay, then is there any treatment for COVID-19? You all know so far, if somebody is hospitalized due to a severe infection, the doctors for this virus or a vaccine is invented so far. But worldwide, all the scientists and the specialists and the doctors, they are doing their level best. They are working day and night to find out a solution for this. So there is no treatment it does not mean you don't go to the hospital, don't believe in medicine, don't believe in doctor. No. And about the breaking the chain. Here you can see in this display. So what are the possible chances to break the reason US, I came to know from my cousin who is in US, he told one of the main reasons that people got much infected. And second is, as I told you, the contact with the door knob or handle, or even the stethoscope the doctor is using. Okay. And the means of exit, how the infection exit from a person when he coughs or sneezes. Okay, he should maintain the hygiene. That's the reason means of transmission is the personal contact. When we give a handshake with the entry, you can see in restaurants. Why all the governments closed all the hotels, restaurants? Because we may be using the same cutleries, and using the same table, chair. Who is infected or who is not infected, we don't the thing. So you have to break the chain of this one. Avoid visiting the hotels. And most of the patients we don't know whether they are positive or negative. So the infection, even though they are doing a lot of disinfection program is there in the hospitals, but all you go, okay, use your gloves, use proper PPE, that is PPE is personal protective equipment, pants, don't expose any part of your body, and don't touch any unwanted surfaces. So these are the ways to prevent the disease. You all know. I already explained you. Don't want to waste much of the time. So one thing main thing I want to insist is, whenever you reach home after a visit to the hospital, clinic, or public places, take a shower and change these clothes. Go about the trade distinctiveness in global disaster. This is the major Middle East and in Europe. In Middle East alone, our manpower was around 10,000. It's around 10,000. And we have around 15 to 16 running projects to wastewater treatment plants and seawater reverse osmosis plants, waste to energy projects, some road pandemic like Corona suddenly struck the whole world, and if we stopped all the operations, is it not possible to complete the projects on time? And moreover, here in UAE, construction works are not stopped by the government because it is considered as one of the essential services, like how we say medical, food distribution, petrol, diesel, collection of the activities. except some small companies which are normal. One day stop. I think is the psychological effect of the employees. You know, most of the blue-collar workers, they come from mostly Asian, like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. Ultimately, they go and talk to each other in groups, and sometimes if they get infected, you know, the whole team will be quarantined, and we will have a production loss due to this. Especially if this is a skilled team like carpenters or fabricators, the whole fabrication job will be. So this is one of the effect which will consider. We are buying pumps from Spain. Each pump is around 50-55 tons weight. It's coming to the shipment from Spain. If the port activity is stopped, then these pumps cannot come to us. So again, there is a production loss. There is a delay in the project due to the supply chain. Impact of cash flow. We have is important for it. You will have sufficient cash flow to run the projects. So delayed project completion. Delayed when your project is supposed to end by December 2020. When these 2 months of breakdown, it will again go to 2 or 3 months more. So the company has to pay the liquidated damages. And for example, our project, which I say the seawater intake project, we are desalinating this water, and this water is going to Expo 2020, which is supposed to start in October. So third thing is company's reputation. If you are unable to deliver a project on time, then you lose your reputation. Sometimes you lose your contract, which is unplanned. It's an unplanned event. So additional cost, we are losing that one. Ultimately, you can see that the action plan is a formation of a disaster management committee to handle this pandemic situation. So from our parent company, we had a couple of guidelines how to proceed, and with that guidelines, we formed a disaster management committee headed by our general manager, and with a steering committee, from the camp management, from the project management. Everybody was given their roles and responsibilities, and proposed pandemic, that is confine this infection from our company area as early as possible. And implementation and monitoring. How to implement? Okay, we are taking a lot of steps, a lot of action plans. How to implement this one, and who is to monitor, and how it's being reported to the management to see whether things are going in a right path. So this is all. Second blue one is the number of cases reported. That is number of positive cases reported, which means initially we started checking the temperature of each and everyone coming to the project. Some guys with a fever to work, and if the temperature is more than 39 degrees Fahrenheit, we'll isolate them in our site clinic in a separate room, and our paramedic or the nurse will do a subsequent vital checks and take their history, health assessment, everything. Then if necessary, we'll refer them to the hospital, or we'll keep him in the isolation. This is the positive cases. And you can see the green line of positive cases hospitalized. So these are the critical cases. You can see it's very low. So, and the purple one is the number of positive cases discharged from the hospital. Okay, this is also coming down. Now, one question you may ask, sir, why the cases of quarantine is so high and the positive cases reported is very less? This was even I can tell. So once we identify a corona victim, whether it's positive or negative, we don't know. We just identify him based on his symptoms, and and we will send him for a test. But before sending him on the test, we will identify who are the close contact of this foreman. So what we did, we isolated this gang. It's not isolation, it's a quarantine. Quarantine is on a doubt. We put them in a separate room in a camp for a test. In the test, if he is positive, then he'll go for isolation. In isolation, we hired a separate. Once they get 2 negative results, then only they will come back to the work. That too, some hospitals don't work. They give after discharge from the hospital, they give 14 days again a quarantine period. That is post hospital period. So post quarantine again, we are doing 14 days quarantine, and we have a company doctor who check their vitals, if their risk assessment. So risk assessment is not in occupational safety and health, and they have a place of worship for them. So these places, when they assemble closely in groups, there are large chances to get infected easily. So like this, we targeted each and every location, like work site, what are the possibilities of to get infected in the work site? What are the possibilities to get infected during the bus travel to and from work site? How are the possibilities and what are the risks involved in the camps? And what are how are the chances of the risk if they go to hospitals outside or in the medical facilities? So like this, we identify the risk and identify the persons who are at risk, and we propose the mitigation, how to mitigate this one, and implement action plan. And as a safety professional, all the managers will monitor how your action plan is going, whether it's going in the right path and it's not correct. If it's not correct, then we have to review your action plan. This is a sample of risk assessment on paper. So this is more technical. I don't want to go in detail. This need at least 2 to 3 hours if you want to explain about the risk assessment. But the basic thing is hazard identification, controls, risk assessment. What is the severity? What is the likelihood and ranking of the risk? It's low, medium, or high. Then risk reduction action plan. This is the general format, just for information only. Mitigation points, as I mentioned you, on company level, a lot of actions have been taken by HR that I think Mr. Ashwin might have explained more. Or else also we stopped international traveling and lot of meetings, face-to-face meetings, subcontractors meeting, client meetings, inspection, weekly inspections, all these ones. But on a major where we have high risk is the labor camps and staff accommodation, transport, commuting to and from work, on work sites, on office atmosphere, and in the medical facilities. Each and every project will be having a first aid clinic and a medical facility. And so how to handle this type of things? These are the target side. So first, just, I would like to talk about the camps and staff accommodation. We installed thermal cameras at the exit and entry points. This is one of the recommendations from the Dubai Health Authority also. And appointment of additional nurses. Initially, we had only 2 nurses working during the daytime. Then we appointed around 6 nurses who work 24/7, monitoring, especially with this COVID patient, coordinating with the hospitals, coordinating with the health authorities, coordinating with the projects, coordinating with the management like us. So, and we appointed a company doctor. This is mainly For domestic illness, if any of your workers having stomach pain or diarrhea or a headache, fever, usually we, if it's a small headache, fever, we give some Panadol, paracetamol tablets. If it is continued, if it is more, then we have a contract with certain hospitals in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. We'll send the patients there. So from the risk assessment, we identified if you are sending the patient to like these hospitals, there are more chances for them to get infected from others because they have to wait in the queue, they have to sit in the reception. So what we had, okay, why don't we hire a company doctor? Okay, we contacted some doctors and we hired a company doctor who will be stationed in our camp, and he will attend to all these domestic cases. He will give the tablets, and then the workers, no need to go to the hospital or pharmacy for anything. So we allotted dedicated isolation rooms. We have two types of rooms. One is isolation rooms for the positive patients who will not have touch with others. And second is the quarantine rooms. This is for the suspected cases who are in close contact with the positive patients. So as I told you before, 113 rooms of quarantine rooms and 200 rooms of isolations. We have hired a separate camp in Jabal Ali, and we appointed a camp boss with janitors, with full facilities, including the nurse, everything, full setup. And supply of good nutritious food. This is one of the main thing. And improved hygiene, especially in the rooms, in washrooms, the corridors, and all those places. Monitoring and controls. Okay, how to monitor this one? Monitor them regularly, and what type of controls need to have to protect them. Temperature testing stations at entry. So we installed the thermal cameras in all the camps, and anybody before they go to work, they will be scanned in this one, and it will be recorded in our system. And once they come back from work, again they have to scan before they go to their respective room. In addition to that, every project, this is being done in our labor camps. In addition to that, we inform the respective project health and safety department to do a check on site. When they get down from the bus, again they'll be using the handheld temperature the thermometer, and they will check that thermometer, the body temperature of the worker before they go to the site and after they come back from work. Again, company's bus, we have around more than 100 buses transporting people for different projects. So we started the social distancing, seating arrangements. For example, this bus seats are 2-seater in either sides. So only one will sit in out of two in a row, and will be in zigzag. One on window side, one on aisle side. One on window side, one on aisle side, like that. So only 50% of the bus capacity is allowed, and this will be monitored by the transport foreman. So for this, company has to invest to hire additional buses. More than 100 buses we hired, and to implement this one. This is also one of the recommendations from the ministry to improve the social distancing during the travel. Temperature checks before boarding, I mentioned you. Regular cleaning and disinfection of the buses. The labor buses need to be regularly cleaned and regularly disinfected. Mostly every day they'll be doing, every trip also. And PPE compliance. PPE means is the personal protective equipment. In this case, mainly the workers will be using the face mask. It's mandatory. Company started issuing free face mask for them. Hiring additional buses, I already told you. Buses are equipped with hand sanitizers. Every buses will have hand sanitizers near the doors. So guys who are going inside will use the hand sanitizer. Similarly, when they go out, when they alight from the bus, they'll use the hand sanitizer. It's mandatory and somebody will be monitoring them. Finally, a regular inspection of the buses is being done by the Health and Safety Department and the transport team. So you can see the how we do the limit the capacity of the buses, temperature checks, disinfectant things, and mandatory use of face mask. Now coming to the work site and office station, again, it is not with no partiality between blue collar workers or white collar workers. Everybody is same for us. So again, the staff buses also will be equipped with all this one, same as the workers. So they will do the regular body temperature check, social distancing, and even the workstation. I will show you. We arrange the workstation such a way at least 1.5 to 2 meter distance from each workstation. Also, we implemented 50% work on even on odd days. For example, Monday 50% of staff will come, and Tuesday they'll take off. The next 50% people will come, and Wednesday the alternate. Similarly, we did. And lunch hall also, we arranged our lunch hall in such a way there is no close contact with each other. We issued lunch packets instead of usually in our company we have a buffet lunch for our staff. So we stopped from the last week of March. We stopped that buffet. We started issuing the lunch packets, if they're veg or non-veg, and they can go to the lunch hall and on a work table to take their lunch. Online meetings, as I told you, we stopped all the one-to-one meetings, and we started remote working and comply with the PPE, face mask, gloves, and full coveralls for the workers. Health orientation and awareness campaign. We posted a lot of signboards in our office notice board, in a reception, and the main places where the workers will gather and where they take their lunch. And we started giving awareness campaign for these workers. As I told you, they are almost fear of this pandemic. So we have to tell them nothing will happen. So we are there to take care of you. Don't worry. Improve your immunity. Increase your hygiene. So like this, we have to give a health campaign for them. And in addition to that, we have weekly safety and health briefing for everybody. And this COVID will be one of the main topics. This I explained to you about the increased controls in the entry and exit points of the office. And PPE, personal protective equipment. So this personal protective equipment ranges from the risk ranking, from low risk to high risk. The people who are high risk, mainly the frontliners, the medical professionals, in our case the nurses, paramedic, and they will be wearing this full PPE with a disposable coverall, face mask, and goggles and gloves. And the people with medium risk, that is who are working in our factories and on site, they'll be exposed to medium risk, we can say. So they will be using respirators and gowns, we say, like a disposable coverall and face mask and goggles. Low risk, like office personnel who are sitting in front of the computer and doing one, they are in the low risk, but still mask is mandatory for them when they move in office, when they work in the office. And this is most important, how we dispose this PPE. This is considered as a biohazard. So we have to dispose the gloves and this one properly in a separate bins. We have separate dedicated bins in our clinics named Biohazard. You can see in hospitals where they dispose the biohazardous material. There are different bins. If you are keen in that one, you could have seen that one. So if you ignore this one and if you dispose the gloves and the mask as you like, again this will infect 100 and 1,000 of people. Okay, this will fly in the air, it will go and infect something. For example, in our country, you can see the vegetables and the stuff selling on the roadside. So imagine if one mask used by a positive guy flow in there, go to a vegetable vendor who is in the platform, what will happen to them? So please, this is very, very, very important. We should not ignore that about the disposal of the used PPE. Physical separation within an office, as I told you, we have arranged the tables, the workstations at around 6 feet distance so that people can work without any fear and without any close contact and or interaction with their colleagues. Like this is stage lunch hours and time spent in common areas. In projects, what we did, some of our projects have the capacity of 3,000, 4,000 people at a time in one shift, we can say. So we have dedicated lunch hall with a capacity of same 2,000, 3,000. So we do it because of this social distancing. We split them into group 1, group 2, group 3. Group 1 may be main contractors that are from B6, and group 2 will be the subcontractors, and group 3 will be the suppliers and other trade people. So different timing we are given, and the food will be distributed to them in different times. So they will follow the social distancing, so they can avoid the group discussions and avoid the close contact also. As I mentioned you, online meetings on project level. And deep cleaning of surfaces and spaces, including disinfection. This is more important. Still, we don't know till somebody is tested and found positive. Some staff are coming from outside. They are staying in their own accommodation. They are coming from outside. So we don't know whether they're positive or not, unless or otherwise we test them. So their workstation should be cleaned regularly with proper disinfectant chemicals. That's approved by the Dubai Health Authority. You can see the picture, this one. This is a sample picture taken in our camp. So once a COVID patient is discharged or out from the isolation, we will change their mattress, we will disinfect their cot, their cabinets, floor, doors, knobs, everything. And at least 24 hours will not allow anybody to go inside. So this is being monitored by the camp manager. And the next thing is the additional medical facilities. How we appointed additional nurses and how we manage the medical facilities and the patient, COVID patient especially. As I mentioned you, we appointed additional nurses for camps to monitor this COVID patients. Collection of swab samples in the camp. Before, we were sending the the positive people or the quarantine guys to the hospitals, and we have to get appointment from the hospitals for the test, which was time consuming. To get appointment itself, initially it took 3 to 4 days. And in the 3 to 4 days, how many guys will get infected, we don't know. And second thing, after testing, to get the report will again take 3 to 4 days. So what we did, we trained our nurses from the Dubai Health Authority, and we collected some sample kits. We bought some sample kits from Dubai Health Authority, and we collected the samples on our own with our male nurse from the victims. In addition to that, we have fixed contract with some of the hospitals like Aster Hospital, and the nurses from there brought the kit, and they did testing in the mass of 50 people, 100 people, like that. So we did in groups. Then comply with isolation and quarantine protocols. We have clear guidelines issued from our head office Brussels as per the WHO and the health authorities in UAE and Abu Dhabi. So what is the period for isolation? What is the period of quarantine? So we complied to this one 100%. And as I told you, the nurses will be available 24/7 for emergencies. One day what happened at midnight, 12:30, one guy got shivering, severe vomiting. He was in isolation. He was okay for 1 week. Suddenly on 8th day, he had severe vomiting. His pressure dropped down, pulse went down, and we had to call the ambulance and send him to the hospital. So this happened. So we kept the nurse on 24/7 on emergency to handle this kind of situations. Dedicated ambulance and buses. A couple of projects which have more manpower. We have dedicated ambulance on 24/7, and we have dedicated buses to transfer these COVID patients to the hospital, from the hospital to the camp, from the work site to camp, all this. They will not be allowed to mingle with the normal workers who are using the normal buses. There will be dedicated buses for this one, for handling these COVID patients. Display of posters in workplace and camps. Awareness posters. We display a lot of awareness posters in the camp in different languages and in the camps also. These campaigns includes about the hygiene also, how to wash their hands, how to use the soap, how to wash the hands for 20 seconds, all these things. So the concluding part, how to live with corona. My topic is to live with corona. Now I'm adding the word how. So how to live with corona. First thing I'll say about the don'ts, then I say about the do's. First of all, not havoc or fear. Don't get panic about corona. Don't believe in rumors. Say no to alcoholic beverages. Say no to smoking, because this alcohol and smoking, it reduces your immunity. I didn't say this one. This one, a lot of health professionals, especially Dr. Sudha Seshan, Vice Chancellor of MJ Medical University, she told in an interview, avoid public gatherings, avoid cold food and things from the fridge directly, don't go out without PPE. These are the don'ts, and okay, these are the do's. Adapt to the changes. Now we have, before corona, there is we say we say BC and AC. before Christ, after Christ. Listen, before Corona and after Corona. I want to tell in this way. So after Corona, we have to obey the government protocols, take necessary precautions, practice healthy living habits, improve your personal hygiene, like washing your hands, changing your clothes, changing your inners, taking regular bath, head bath, complete shower, and consume healthy food, avoid junk foods, improve your immune system. So your food is going to improve your immune system. Do yoga, breathing exercise. So if you don't get panic, you can go out. Now, before we say stay home, stay safe. Now, how long we are going to stay home? Next 6 months? Next 1 year? What will happen if any vaccination is not found or not invented within this 1 year? You are going to stay in your house like this? What about your kids' education? What about your parents or elders' health? What about your job? So what about your future? What about your family life? Everything will go. So we again, now it's not the time to be in house. Once the lockdown is lifted, so my advice is, you are all scholars, I know you are all educated people. So your duty is to convince your dear and near, to explain them what is real corona means, who are the affected parties, who will be the affected parties, who are all affected. So how is our, especially Asians, our immune system is very good. I hear from a lot of doctors. So till we find a solution or find a vaccine, we have to follow the healthy living habits. So I spoke to one of my family doctor last week. Doctor, what is going to be the solution for this? He told Frederick, if at all they find a vaccine, this vaccine will not be like a vaccine which we give for chicken pox or smallpox or HIV and something like that, which is going to be the lifelong. This is like a flu vaccine. Now in UAE and America, we have flu vaccines. When any Americans come to India, they flew to other countries, they'll take a vaccine and they'll come. Now we are in UAE. Every seasonal changes, we get the flu. So I took a flu shot. Last September, I took a flu shot. So this is annual basis. Because the reason, we will ask the reason. This virus is mutating. Today, this virus, the original virus which originated in Wuhan, if it's type A, when it goes to Europe, it goes to type B. When it goes to C, when it goes to USA, it's type C. It is changing. It is changing. It's what to say? It's a illness symptoms. Minor changes. It's not a big change. Minor changes. It's the mutation. That's why we say it's a mutation. So we cannot say, okay, this virus is like this. These are the things, and we create a vaccine for this. So this is the reason. Immediately, there is no solution for a vaccine. So what I say, first learn how to live with corona. Adopt that in your day-to-day life and inform everybody, practice it in your life. If you practice it long term, it will become a habitual. So make is a habit. So nothing, it's like a fever. When we get a fever, like this, yeah. So this is my perception based on my experience for the past 2 months with these corona victims. Some comments are from phrases I got from WhatsApp. I want to share with you all. So world is closed for renovation, grand reopening soon. Mask is better than ventilator. Home is better than ICU. Prevention is better than cure. No one is coming to save you. The life is 100% your responsibility. Virus, only I and you can break the chain. Any question and answers? You can ask me. You can on your mic and you can ask me. And if you have more questions about health and safety, my email is given here. You can email it to me. I will reply you in a couple of days. Any questions, please? So silent.
Rishi sir, Rishi.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can moderate the session now.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for addressing on how to live with corona. A few participants have some questions for you, sir.
Yeah, please.
First question from Mahesh Kumar and Vinci Michael. How to understand without any symptom people are positive with COVID-19?
Sir, as I told you, it's very, very tough to identify. Unless or otherwise, you know that this X or Y person was associated or was in close contact with any patient who got positive. For example, if I got positive and my wife is staying with me, so my wife, sure, she's saying 50% chances of getting positive. So this is how we know without symptoms. Otherwise, you cannot identify anybody.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Next question from Pavitra Gautam. How to identify COVID-19 at the initial stage?
Yeah, it's the same question as before. Initial stage means it starts with a fever. Okay, so we have antibodies in our body. So when an infection goes through your throat or through your nasal or through your eyes or whatever may be, this coronavirus will affect your respiratory tract. Okay, it is a severe acute respiratory syndrome. So first you'll have a sore throat. First day you can see a sore throat, and the second day or third day you'll have a fever. Fever means your antibodies will fight with this coronavirus. With the immune system, it will try to fight. This fighting of the antibodies with this virus develops a fever. This is called a fever. Fever is your body's defense system. So if your fever is not controlled in 1 or 2 days, then better you don't consider this a normal fever. It should be a viral fever or maybe a fever due to coronavirus, and you have to go to the hospital.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. Next question from Manikyal Varadaraj. Somebody told that coronavirus does not spread in our country. It's having heavy summer. How is fastly spread in India?
It does not say, there was no theory or no proof to say that it does not spread in India or a tropical country or a hot country. If you take Middle East is the hottest one, hottest country, and still it is spreading there. So there is no such things. But one thing is that if the virus is in your dress or in any of the objects which is exposed to the sunlight, it can dry. There will be a top coating of this virus. This coating is it's a microscopical. It is having a gel-like formation, like you can see from my slide. This is a microscopic view. The third slide you can see is a microscopic view of the of this virus. So this one in objects, it will not live longer. Usually this virus is not a live one. Only bacteria are live because they are mainly plant-based live. A virus is not a live. You can say neither live nor dead. So it is still there in any object for 24 hours to 3 days. They are telling. This is a study only. So we cannot say split that India it will not come. One thing I can assure you, South Indians, we are using a lot of turmeric, ginger, garlic, pepper. These are high immune causing spices. So we Asians, we are taking a lot of these spices. So our immunity level will be more, and so easily it will not spread to everybody unless or otherwise your immunity is weak and you have any chronic illness like diabetic or heart issues or high blood pressure or kidney issues. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, sir. Next question from Marimuthu Prakasam. Lack of financial support by government is one of the most important reasons to spread over the coronavirus. Either this statement is right or wrong.
Actually, I am not here to discuss debate about different governments' action. Every government want to reduce or control this pandemic. So,
okay, sir.
Financial resources, that's not a very big thing here, because now at this stage, you need only a test kit to find out whether you are positive or negative. And if at all you are infected severely, you need a ICU or you need a ventilator. Only the ventilator and the thing is going to be costly. Other than that, there's no cost factor involved. So we can ignore this financial aspect. It is a rumor, I can say.
Okay, sir. Another question from Punguri. Compared to other countries, is virus impact less in India?
Yeah, now it is less. Now, before, when China was on top, India was in 100th position like that. Now it is somewhere in 30th or 40th position. Exactly, I don't know. But we are far better than other European countries or USA and UK. Our rate, especially the mortality rate, is very less. And for example, as I'll give a figure, in 27th of May, confirmed cases worldwide is 5,491,678. Confirmed death was 349,190. 217 countries were affected. And in the 217 countries, if you see the ranking of India, it is around 95 or 96 only. So we are far better than other countries. No need to worry about this.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, next question from Snega.
Please.
When we get the vaccine for COVID-19?
Good question. As I told you, so all the scientists and doctors are working day and night for this one. Recently, you can also search in the YouTube, interview with Dr. Sudha Seshan. She is the Vice Chancellor of Dr. MGR Medical University. Please note it down. She is also doing a research on this one. There also, MGR University also is involved in finding a vaccine. So really, we don't know when the vaccine will come. Last week, as per the WHO report, around 7 to 18 vaccine is under approval. So it is still waiting for the approval from the WHO to distribute to the whole world.
Okay, sir. Next question from John Maria Susai. How coronavirus spread in the prison people? Maximum they are not contact with public. Then how?
Come again, sir. So sorry. How it spread?
How coronavirus spread in the prison people, maximum they are not contact with the public, then how?
Still, we have to identify. This is why I told we have to identify who are the contact, first line of contact. We have primary contact, secondary contact, and type B contact. The primary contact guy, maybe one of your relative, might have gone through meet him. Every prison is allowing their relative to meet them every month or every two months, every 3 months. They might have got through their relatives or from the prison mates who are new to the prison. So still there's a risk assessment. We have to do a risk assessment, how it's getting spread. We have to do a close study, who are the target group of prisoners affected, or whether they're using any illegal stuff inside the prisons or not. So this is how. Otherwise, without anything, any source, it's not at all possible. I will tell you, one of the Emirates in the UAE is Fujairah. In Fujairah, we have one project running, which is around 300, 400 workers are working. None of the workers are infected. You will not believe. That Fujairah part itself, the corona rate is very less. And from our projects, all the projects, except 2 projects, are infected. This project, none of the one were infected because there is no source. They have a separate camp. They have a separate bus to go. Their staff are all staying in the company accommodation. So they are not allowed to go out. So in a confined environment, it is very, very rare to get infected unless or otherwise they have a close contact with somebody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I invite Dr. J. Solomon, sir, to deliver the vote of thanks, sir.
Before that, I would like to thank St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science for giving me an opportunity to deliver this webinar. I cannot forget Father Adikal Sami, who gave this golden opportunity for me to deliver this one. Great thanks to everybody and to the participants who listened very carefully and patiently. Thanks a lot. Thank you once again.